Oh my gosh. Yeah, this is really good.
This is like such a tender short rib.
This on a cold day too, it'd be so nice.
I was just thinking that, like, I mean, I cannot wait for winter.
Yeah, it's gonna be Cholent 7 days a week. Hi, I'm Hannah.
And I'm Shay, and we're Dinner National.
Today we're making Israeli food.
Israel is an immigrant nation just like the United States or Canada. So as a result, you can find cultural and traditional influences of a lot of places in the world. We've never done this before, but we're trying to conform to the Sabbath traditions. So on the day of Sabbath, which is Saturday, you're prohibited from cooking. So what do? You make a delicious meal on Friday and eat it on Saturday. Today, I would be making a cholent, which is a stew that's traditionally made of beef, barley, potatoes, and it's really delicious.
And I'm going to be making the traditional challah bread, which is the braided bread that is eaten on special occasions and Shabbat. And I'm also going to be making a delicious couscous salad.
And to round everything up, I'm going to make the very popular dish, hummus, which is popular all around the Middle East, but it's especially enjoyed in Israel. Let's get started.
All right, we're gonna get started with the challah. So that is that braided bread. It's really tasty. It's nice and fluffy. It's pretty egg heavy. And it is a little bit harder than the other breads we've made on Dinner National before, like our paratha in our India video or our khobz in our Morocco video. But the payoff is gonna be significant, I promise you. So this bread, like I said, is usually eaten on special occasions, and it's actually usually blessed by a rabbi. I have no authority to do this, so we're just gonna make this bread and share it with you. So we have to make sure our yeast is going to be working properly. So first we're going to add a 1/4 cup of lukewarm water to a large mixing bowl. This is the bowl we're going to make the dough in. So this is 2 1/4 teaspoons of dry active yeast. And this is 1 teaspoon of white granulated sugar. So let this dissolve a little bit, mix it all together, and you're gonna let this sit for 10 minutes and wait to see if this kind of gets foamy and thicker and grows a little bit. And if it does, your yeast is good to go and you can continue making the challah. So our yeast is working just fine, guys. This is nice and foamy, and we're going to start adding the rest of our ingredients. We have 2 medium-sized eggs that we're gonna put in, and this is 3 medium-sized egg yolks. So just the egg yolks. Try to do something fun with the egg whites if you can. You don't want to waste. This is 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil or canola oil, and this is 1/3 cup of honey. This is also a really good bread to use for French toast. You're welcome. We'll probably have some extra too, because we're gonna make 2 medium-sized loaves with this. Add 1 1/4 cup of lukewarm water. This is the rest of the water you're supposed to add. Okay, and last, but no, not last, and not least, we have 2 teaspoons of salt. This is kosher salt. Combine this pretty well with a whisk, you know? Pop those egg yolks. Plop, plop. I'm really excited about making this bread. I've never even eaten it before. Okay, so this is 4 cups of flour. I'm not just gonna put this in all at once. I'm going to add this in a 1/4 cup at a time. And you know what? We might actually need more, we might need less. Just have to go with the flow, guys. We want this dough to kind of hold together a little bit, but mixing it all in at once is a bad idea because it'll be all clumpy and you want it to be a nice smooth dough. Eventually I won't be able to use this whisk. I'll have to use my hands, and we will need. Okay, here's another 1/4 cup going in. I'm gonna do a little multitasking. It's not multitasking, I'm only doing one thing. Okay, so it's getting stickier. This is kind of the consistency of oatmeal that you might send back at a restaurant because it's a little watery. All right, another 1/4 cup going in. See, it's getting thicker now, but definitely not thick enough to use my hands yet. It's too whiskey. So we burnt through that 4 cups of flour real fast. I'm gonna keep adding, but we're pretty much at the end. We're to the point where I can probably remove this from the bowl, knead it myself a little bit, and then let it rise. as you can see, I have switched to my hands now. This dough is probably too sticky for me to have done this, but I have no regrets, and it's time to add more flour. So this dough is a different texture than the cobes we made for our Morocco episode, and I'm not a bread expert by any means, but I definitely feel the difference. I definitely feel the difference here. I'm stuck. Okay, as you can see, I have taken the dough out of the bowl, and I'm going to continue kneading on the counter and adding flour until it's more cohesive, and then we'll let it rest. Okay, so I've kneaded this for quite some time, maybe 10 minutes or so. Now we're going to oil this bowl. I'm just going to use some spray oil. Use whatever you want. This is just so the dough has some freedom to rise up. Okay, so let this rest for 1 hour in a warm place.
Hummus. I feel like I should address this. So hummus is like such a favorite of like all these countries everywhere. It's really hard to pinpoint who invented hummus. I mean, it's been enjoyed so many places for like so long. It's almost like a bad thing to say where hummus actually came from. So I'm not gonna say anything about that. So what you have over here is like about 6 cups of water that's, I just put it on, so it's not boiling yet. This is like 1 can of chickpeas that we rinsed and drained. So there's none of that goopy stuff in there. Aquafaba, I believe that's what it's called. And this is baking soda, half a teaspoon. So apparently baking soda is a bit of a secret ingredient over here. I've not seen it added in every single hummus recipe I've seen, but apparently what it does is makes the peas all mushy. So all I'm gonna do is have this boil in the baking soda solution for like about 20 minutes. Yes, I know that sounds like it's overcooking it, but that's a good thing because now you don't really need to have like clumpy hummus. So the chickpeas have been boiling for 20 minutes. I drained all the water and look at these chickpeas. They're like real mushy. This is already kind of tasty. All right, let's blend these things together. I'm gonna start with a clove of garlic that I've chopped up roughly. This was like a pretty large clove, so feel free to use 2. And this is like half a teaspoon of salt. And this is juice of 1 lemon. I'm also gonna add half a cup of tahini. Tahini is available in most supermarkets these days, but if you don't get it, all you need to do is like blend your own sesame, guys. It's really easy. Tahini is really yummy. So I'm just gonna keep blending this into a smooth paste. Smells really good. I'm just gonna make sure that I scrape the sides down a little bit because we don't want all the garlic pieces to be just stuck to the side, We want it to be like nice and blended. A hummus can only be as smooth as the ingredients in it, so you start chunky, you end up chunky. So I'm gonna add a little bit of ice water in there. Just like a little boop. And I'm just gonna add the rest of these chickpeas. Why did I say rest of the chickpeas? The chickpeas. I'm gonna pour in about like 1 tablespoon of olive oil. A little bit more never hurt. Look how smooth this is. I really enjoy hummus. No wonder half the world is fighting about it. Our hummus is to my desired consistency. It's like nice and look at that. It's an ideal dip for your veggies, for your pita. Makes a simple meal fancy, And now for the final ingredient. This is cumin. I have like about a teaspoonful. So I'll just give this one final whirl and that's it. Our hummus is ready to enjoy. Hummus man.
Okay, so this has been 1 hour of rising. Look at this. She's beautiful, and it's only gonna get bigger. So I'm gonna flour my work surface here, which is a clean countertop. I'm gonna knead this for like 1 minute, just kind of to punch it a little bit. Oh yeah, wow. This feels so good. This is like, and it smells amazing. Okay, so I'm gonna put it back in this oiled bowl, and we're gonna let it rise for another hour. All right, guys, hour 2. It's really feeling like a really nice dough. It's springy. You really want that feeling. Put this on a floured surface and make sure it's not sticky anymore when you cut it. Try to make this as even as possible. No one's perfect. So I'm gonna split this in 2 because we're gonna make 2 medium-sized challah breads. Okay, that's pretty even. So I'm gonna kind of make a little log out of it, I guess, and then cut it into 3 even pieces. Same with this side. And then we're gonna braid those pieces. So I'm going to roll this into a long rope of sorts, and you want to leave the ends pointy. Like these parts are going to be kind of pointier. It's going to make it easier to connect the 3 pieces. We are going to braid this. We're going to start in the middle. Don't start at the ends, even though that seems like you should. Put the one side over the middle. Do the same, one side over the middle, side over the middle. All right, you want to keep this tight but not too tight. And keep braiding until the 3 ends meet, and you're going to press them together. Whoop. Okay.
There you
go. Press it together. And now what I'm gonna do is we're gonna make an egg wash. I'm going to brush this over the top of the dough, and I'm gonna let it rest for 30 to 45 minutes.
Let's make some cholent. This is the granddaddy of all one-pot meals. Like I was saying earlier, you're not really allowed to do very much cooking at all on Saturday. So this becomes like a perfect Friday night meal that you just kind of like set it in a slow cooker and forget about it. In the more traditional homes, they would actually just cook it on the stovetop and then keep it on like this electric plate, basically removing the need to use the fire or anything like that to cook on the Saturday. So yeah, I've never made this before. I looked at a couple of recipes. This looks like it's pretty authentic, but let's give it a shot. What I have over here is short ribs. These are bone in. Feel free to use boneless, but in my experience, bone in always tastes a little bit better. So you can use any kinds of meat. Basically, the idea is to have like large, big, chunky pieces of meat, because this is cooking for like 18 hours in my case, and can cook for like anywhere between 12 and 20 hours. Alrighty, so I kind of like tucked those in there. These are just potatoes that I've cut into halves. Like I said, this is gonna cook for 18 hours, so we don't want it to like, you know, completely disintegrate and get obliterated in this slow cooker. Same way, I have an onion. This is a medium yellow onion that I just cut in half. I'm just gonna kind of like tuck it in there. Make some room. This is just like 1 carrot that I cut into 3. And this is like 6 cloves of garlic that I just kind of crushed to peel. So honestly, guys, I mean, all the things that go in here are already on this table, and I'm just gonna put all these things in here and keep it on slow cook for like 18 hours. So all of these things kind of like melt together into like a really delicious dish. This is 1 cup of pearl barley. This is 1 cup of red kidney beans. This is not even like soaked or cooked or anything like that, but this cooks for a really long time and gets kind of soft. This is 1 can of fava beans. I just had these from the Egypt episode, and I figured, you know, I may as well use the fava beans in there. I'm not sure if that's authentic. I have 1.5 teaspoons of paprika and 1 teaspoon of cayenne in there. You can skip the cayenne, but why would you? This is 1.5 teaspoons of turmeric. 2 teaspoons of cumin. Feel free to use a little bit less. I like cumin, I'm Indian. Okay, and now I'm using better than bouillon because I did not have any chicken broth on hand. You could also use beef broth if you have that. Feel free to use like bouillon powder, and I'm gonna pour in 3 cups of water. You know what, not all my food is covered up, so I'm gonna add like another cup of water. This is a pretty forgiving dish, so a little bit plus minus here or there does not really matter as much. Alrighty, there was another cup, so that's like 4 cups of water. A nice thick pinch of salt, maybe another one, because there's a decent amount of food in there, and you know how potatoes are. Potatoes will kind of like absorb, and add some black pepper to taste. Okay, so I'm just gonna give this like a little stir. And that's all the effort you need to undertake, you guys. Now all you need to do is add in a couple squirts of honey. This thing is optional, but I did see a couple of recipes that used honey. I saw some that actually use barbecue sauce. I'm sure that would be delightful as well, but this somehow seems like a little bit more traditional. I don't know if it is. Tell me. Teach me, guys. Okay, So this is one part that I'm a little bit nervous about. These are 4 eggs. These are not cooked. These are just raw eggs. They're just gonna go on top and they're gonna cook for like 18 hours. I have never really seen eggs being cooked that long, but yeah, people have been doing this for thousands of years, so I'm sure they know what they're doing. Lid is on, and I'm gonna slow cook this on low for 18 hours. See you on Saturday, guys.
Challah. This has been resting for the 30 to 45 minutes. We're gonna put it in the oven now and pull it out after 20 minutes to repeat the egg wash and then bake it for another 20 more. As you can see, this is not completely done yet. We've been baking this bread for 20 minutes. So we're going to do the second egg wash and bake it for another 20 minutes. It's gonna come out looking nice and golden brown all over. This bread is looking fabulous. I'm very happy with it.
Smells amazing too.
It smells so good. Back in the oven, 20 minutes. It's nighttime already. You wanna turn the light on? Perfect. All right, it is time to make our salad. The only difference here is that we're not using Israeli couscous. Why? Because we had this kind of couscous. We just wanted to use it up. So I already boiled water and made the couscous. It's back there, ready to go. Definitely wait till it's cooled off before you add it to this though. Right here, I have 3 Roma tomatoes that I've diced into bite-sized pieces. No tomato left behind. This is 1 green bell pepper. This is a large portion of a cucumber, sliced. I kind of take the middle out because it's a very watery vegetable. You don't have to do that, but I do. And this is 1 small red onion that I've sliced. This is optional. We have jarred artichoke, so we decided to use it. Artichokes are my favorite food. They've been my favorite food since childhood. You might have noticed that I have a artichoke tattooed on my body. I like these guys very much. This is there's a cup of artichoke hearts. And this is half a bunch of parsley, the curly parsley that I have chopped up, just the leaves. Add that in there. Okay, you'll notice that I have all of these things out. So I wanted to show you what's going to be in the salad, but we're gonna wait to dress this till tomorrow, which is Saturday. We've made the salad, so we're doing no work on the Sabbath. We have red wine vinegar here. This is about 2 tablespoons. You don't have to use all of it, just depending on how many ingredients you have in here. This is about 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. Just a squirt of honey. It adds a little sweetness. It's really nice. And pepper and salt. You don't need to use robot pepper, but we like to use robot pepper. Don't add the salt tonight because it'll leach all the water out. You don't want a soggy salad. So add all of this stuff before you're ready to eat, and then add your couscous the next day as well. So I'll just mix this thoroughly and keep it in the fridge next to the hummus and eat it tomorrow when we're ready to eat our cholent. The challah is all done. Oh man, look at that.
Oh wow, that looks beautiful.
And it smells so good. I understand that they're a little bit like wonky shape, but that's what makes it beautiful.
Let's try some Israeli food. We've never tried any of this before. I mean, I've tried challah in a sandwich, but then never like traditional challah.
Oh yeah, that's what I want to try. This will be our first bite, guys.
This is super flaky, really nice. And I feel like it's really perfect to mop up the sticky goodness of the cholent.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, this is really good. I'm so proud, guys. I've come a long way since my paratha.
Good job on the bread.
Yeah, it's good.
And honestly, the cholent is like a revelation for me. This is like such a tender shortbread. So nice. The texture is almost like kind of silky. The potato, the barley, the starch, it just really works.
Wow, it's really something special.
I really like it.
This on a cold day too would be so nice.
I was just thinking that, like, I mean, I cannot wait for winter.
Yeah, it's gonna be Cholent 7 days a week. And the salad's nice too.
Next time we'll try and make it with Israeli couscous because I've never really tried it. But then, of course, what's not to like about fresh cucumbers, artichokes? It's really good.
It seems like onions, tomatoes, and cucumbers are pretty common base for a lot of salads all around the world. But you can see why.
Yeah,
It's refreshing.
It just works as a combination.
It just works.
So as far as a dish that has not even been reheated, yeah, that's kind of like an important thing, right? You're not supposed to reheat anything. So these were left out at room temperature, the bread, I mean, and everything else was in the fridge. And the hummus is actually like really good. I mean, I know that homemade fresh hummus is always better than store-bought, but then this is like the simplest kind and we kept it like really simple just so that we could let the basic flavors shine, and honestly, they are shining. Alright guys, we're gonna finish eating this. See you next week.